Hello, CQ, 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 calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This net meets on this frequency 3 times weekly, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. and Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. The net is carried out in the round table fashion and the amplitude modulation mode. Any station capable of generating an AM signal is certainly welcome to participate. So, those that would like to be a part of the Old Friends Net, give me a call and come now.
N4LQ.
W4KR. WB4NKL.
WB4ARK.
K3OS.
WA4EVK.
All right, we have N4LQ, W4KR, WB4NKL, WB4ARK, K3OS, and WA4EVK. Do we have other check-in? All right, one more time down the list. N4LQ, W4KR, WB4NKL, WB4ARK, K3OS, WA4EVK. One more time, any other check-in?
Late but never, never but late. W4MEC.
Okay, you're recognizing Charlie, W4MEC. Anyone else? All righty, good morning to everybody. We've got a blistering 16 degrees, partly cloudy, still breezy. We didn't get any more snow, well, appreciable snow last night. So I hope it has that out of its system for a while. But anyway, we're supposed to get up to a balmy 39 today, which is considerably higher than yesterday. The high yesterday was about 21 degrees with wind and snow flurries. So I'm looking forward to a warmer period of time. Anyhow, we're running the BC610C, receiving on the HQ110A, and looking forward to seeing how everybody is doing today. Steve, here it comes, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Fine as frog's hair. N4LQ. Well, I'm on the Ameco TX-86 and the Drake 2A this morning. It's 26 here in Shelby. It's supposed to go up to 47. And Dave, you're a cold spot, I bet. It's going to be a cold day up there, but looking forward to warmer temperatures later on this week. I did read an interesting article that pertains to electronics, and it is a test run by Tom's Hardware, which has been around for years. They have a website, Tom's Hardware Test, and writes about computers and audio things. But they did a blind study with a room full of audiophiles who are people that claim they can, they're like they sit in judgment of anything audio, say that. They ran a test on these expensive cables, and you see audio cables that cost $100. They're oxygen-free copper and crazy things like that. But the blind test proved that the audiophiles couldn't tell the difference between audio signals sent through copper wire, a banana, or wet mud, and it was a green banana. And with the exception of a little bit of attenuation, there was no difference, and they compensated for that by increasing the audio power a little bit when it went through the mud, but the mud did not change the frequency response. It should have sounded awful, but actually it sounded the same, and the audio files were put down, I guess. So with that, over to Stan. W4KR N4LQ.
N4LQ W4KR. Okay, Steve. I had to chuckle about that, but you know it doesn't surprise me. I've seen those. You know, we've all seen those ads. You go looking on eBay or wherever, and there's some crazy stuff on there. Crazy prices. It's like 12AX7s. To me, a 12AX7 is a 12AX7, and look at the color of the plate. I don't see where the color of the plate makes one whip a difference. But anyway, I guess you know, there's one born every minute, like Mr. Ringling said 100 years ago. Temperature this morning here is it's dropped. It's gone up a degree. It was 24 earlier. Now it's 25. Still going to 49, and it's clear, and it's clear sky out there. So it's at least it'll be sunny. At least the roof will warm up a little bit. Running the Viking 500 as usual, and the SX101. The more I mess with that receiver, the more I like it. Interestingly, I thought the 183D was going to be hard to beat, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, Steve, I wonder next go around. I wonder if you're going to Dalton. And Steve, thanks for the email on the PDF. Got that squared away. Thanks. Cliff, up to you. How you doing this morning? WB4NKL, W4KR.
W4KR is WB4NKL. Doing pretty good, Stan. In the basement shack, it's started out 17 here, but it's warmed up to 20 and supposed to get up to 41 after a while. So hopefully it'll stay above freezing here for a day or two. It hadn't been above freezing for 2 or 3 days, so looking forward to that. Yeah, I never did understand how people could tell the difference between wire and the tubes, the color of the tube plates, and what the capacitors are made out of. I think that's all in their head, but I guess it's made for some good sales on eBay. I got a call there yesterday from Keith, N9QDS, Steve, that you put on the reflector, and he's seen the little Harvey Wells police transmitter came up for sale there at a antique radio meet, I think it was, up in Illinois. He said he looked at it and thought about it, but then somebody else bought it, but he didn't say what it went for, but it changed hands there at that meet, the one you had the picture of. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, buddy. WB4ARK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, WB4ARK. Okay, Cliff, very good signal into Lake Wiley this morning, where the temperature is 20 degrees. Thought it was going to go down to 19, but it didn't quite make that, I don't think. It's been a pretty cold night, and it was pretty chilly yesterday too, with the wind blowing. Wow, it was tough. Had to work outside a little bit, and it was not pleasant. Now I'm not even going to comment on that audio business. Well, I guess, let's see, we had, had a little work yesterday at Duncan's shop. Got that out of the way. Got to go back today and finish up. So we will we'll be done then. So with that, we will send it over to K3OS WB4ARK.
Hey buddy, WB4ARK, K3OS. Morning everybody. About the same weather here in Hickory as you guys got there in the mid-20s. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe it'll warm up halfway decent. Audio is just a bit low here. All right. Yep, running the Gonset Twins this morning, and yeah, the monster cable guys are are interesting. There's also, if you read, I'm certain you guys have the guys who profess that they can tell the difference between rectifier tubes. That's also another one, right? So I don't know, but I had a friend of mine up in Connecticut who owned a high-end hi-fi store, and he used to laugh at the guys coming in and spending $20,000 on tube amps, but he made a living on it. So he laughed all the way to the bank, as they say. Over to you, Boone. Good morning to you. Loud and strong here, man. WA4EVK, K3OS.
K3OS in the group, WA4EVK. Well, never ceases to amaze me how some of that can get going. The 12AX7 thing is irritating. It's 19 degrees here. We saw 17 right at dawn, I think. Didn't look at the clock too much. Was looking at the thermometer in shock. Going to 44. Running the AF68 into the Swan Mark 1. Receiving on the actually an SDR receiver this morning. Things moving along pretty good. I'm hoping we break the high temp mark and go to, you know, really warm 50 or something, but it isn't going to happen. I've got a little scrounging around to do out in my junk stock in the garage, and I'd sure like for it to be a little bit warmer before I get out there and do it. That's about it on this end for this deal, for this go around. Over to Charlie, W4MEC to take it, WA4EVK.
Hey Boone, W4MEC. Any old friends, W4MEC. Yeah, whatever. Not quite awake yet. I finally remembered I was trying to say better late than never. Anyway. Oh boy. SWR is a little high this morning. Don't know why. Everybody's coming in good. We got about 20 degrees here, 19, 20 degrees, something like that. And I guess it's hazy out, overcast. The sun is, I can see the sun, but it's not booming in here. Looks like it's going through a filter. And yesterday we had light snow on the ground, but it was really fluffy stuff. I got my leaf blower out and blew it off the porch and the steps and blew a path down to the carport, so in case my wife had to leave, it wouldn't. I figured if I didn't do that, it would probably stay and melt and then turn into a thin sheet of ice, but it all went away. It was kind of interesting. I was putting the bird feeders out, and I was standing on the end of the deck, and I was looking, and there was a perfectly rectangular snow on the ground, and the rest of it had already gone away and melted. And I said, what in the world? You know, it finally dawned on me that the rectangle was the part that was being shaded by the porch roof. As it moved, it melted out. But I mean, it had a perfect 90-degree corner and everything, like there was something hot underground that was rectangular. So anyway, that's just something I've erroneously observed. I wonder if anybody's having any trouble with, did I ask this before?
Lowe's and Home Depot. Now it's been about 4 days, 5 days. I cannot do anything on those sites, and you get the site opens up, you know, like the home page. But if you try and click anything, even customer service down at the bottom, Lowe's says you know, illegal to connect or something like that, yeah, and Home Depot says oops. And I talked to them. It's very hard to talk to Lowe's. They're a difficult company to deal with. I sent that thing about they're pretty low rated on customer service, but they're just absolutely awful. I've dealt with them several times on the phone, and they're absolutely awful. So anyway, but I don't know what happened. 5 days ago, it just quit, and I can't seem to look up anything now. Now my wife looks up stuff fine on her cell phone, but on my landline AT&T internet connection, it says no way Jose. So anyway, you look up a solution and it's got some complicated thing where you got to go get the software and change this and that. And I said, it can't be that difficult. Why is it on my end, you know? Oh well. So let's see. Not a lot going on. I was working down at the house yesterday quite a while, and we were actually getting snow flurries down there, even though it was blue sky. The wind was so great, it was blowing something down this way a little bit, down there a little bit. So, in Mill Spring, so which is technically not that far away. Actually, it's from my house. It's due east of me, and it's not that far away, air miles. But driving to it is 27, so anyway, that's living in the mountains. Nothing is straight. So back to you, Dave. WA4LLR, the group W4MC.
All right, Charlie, fine business. Let me stand by. Any late check-ins? Come now. All right, guess we got everybody. Well, yeah, I know what you mean about Lowe's. Oh, mercy. And I had that, you talking about the websites, I had that problem with Social Security Administration. I tried getting on their website with my Mac, and it would go, when you hit menu, it would just lock up. Well, I went to the Windows machine, and it was doing the same thing, and I could get on it with my cell phone with no problem. So now, I don't know what the heck's going on, Charlie. That's just weird. You said you were on AT&T. Well, I'm on Spectrum, so I don't know. Anyhow, one of life's great mysteries. Let's see. Boone, the F-68 sounds good as always. And Gary, the Gonzits do as well. Yeah, interesting. People that can tell the sound of different rectifiers in their audio, and those that swear that the only real wonderful, excellent audio amplifier is one that runs triodes. So I had a friend that used to build those things and sell them, and he got some horrendous price, and I don't remember which tube he was using. It was an old vintage tube. And the amp only put out like 1.5 watts, but he was getting a buku amount of money out of those things. Let's see. But a good deal about working at Duncan's shop. And, yeah, Cliff, that was interesting, that Harvey Wells transmitter. I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe Dave, YBC, said he used to have a Harvey Wells transmitter in an aircraft that he used to own. I think I'm right about that. And Stan, you were talking about 12AX7's plate colors, and Steve, you was talking about those high-dollar audio cables. All that reminds me of a story Jerry Clower used to tell about the horse blanket. I don't know if you remember that, and nobody else may be a Jerry Clower aficionado, but I always got a kick out of him. And if you don't know the story, he's talking about this old fellow that ran a country store many years ago down in Louisiana, and or somewhere down in that area. And the folks sitting around the pot-bellied stove, and they always watched him as he dealt with his customers. And every time he'd make a sale and put the money in the cash register, he'd quote a verse of scripture. And some kids came in and bought candy, and he went over the cash register and hit the button, and he said, "Suffer the little children to come unto me." And then, you know, more people came in, and this dude came in with a fancy horse trailer, and he came in and he said, "I'm heading to," I can't remember where it was, and I've got this, you know, this high dollar, ultimately pedigreed racehorse, and I need a blanket for it. The old fella goes back in the back, and he brings out a blanket, and he says it's $5. And the guy's, he's just taken aback. He said, "You think I'd put a $5 blanket on this, you know, multiple $1,000 horse?" So the old store owner goes back and he gets a different color of the same type, brings it out and says, "This is a $10 blanket." The guy said, "You think I'm going to put a $10 blanket on this high-dollar horse?" So he goes back and gets a different color of the same blanket, and brings it out and says, "This is a $50 blanket." And he said, "Now that's more like it." So he takes the blanket and leaves, and the customers are sitting around waiting to see what he says when he punches the register. And he opens the register and puts the money in and says, "He was a stranger and I took him in." N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Thank you, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ. I love a good joke. Well, we were talking about 12AX7s, and I think I've told this before, but Brian and myself were at the AWA swap meet in Charlotte, and every now and then some ham radio stuff shows up. Well, some guy had an old beat-up looking DX100 sitting down on the ground. He had it marked for $20, and everybody was just walking by it. I just happened to be standing there looking at it, and the guy was trying to get me to take it for $10 or something. He was desperate. But some guy just happened to walk up and looked at it, and he opened the lid and looked in there and pulled out the 12AX7 preamp tube. And he looked at that tube and he said, "It's a molar." He let out a whoop and gave the guy $20, took the tube and disappeared into the crowd, and that left the DX100 sitting there. Anyway, yeah, and interesting about Keith and the Harvey Wells. You know, Harvey Wells also got into the garage door opener business. I didn't know that, but I was trying to research that transmitter, and I found that out. And you know, not many people had electric garage door openers back in those days. But of course, Elmac also did that. But a lot of that stuff, like that little transmitter, that was made back in the late 30s, early 40s, and I think a lot of scrap metal ended up going to the war effort, and that was probably what happened to some of this stuff. But it's just unheard of. Let's see, the Charlotte Hamfest is coming up on the 6th and 7th of March. That's just next week, yeah, in the next week, if I'm correct, yeah. So keep that in mind. And Dalton, no, I'm not going to Dalton, Stan. I don't know about Dave, but you asked me, so that's a long drive for me. And audiophiles, they also collect bumblebee capacitors like we've seen in some equipment. You know, the big black, some people call them black beauties, but they have the stripes around them for a color code of sorts. And bumblebees, they're notoriously bad capacitors, but audiophiles buy those things, and I've seen them go on eBay. Look it up. $20, $30 for one bad bumblebee capacitor, and they'll even buy them with the leads cut off. So there you go, put them on eBay. Lowe's website, I have had trouble with that for months, and I'll click on a product and it will come up blank, and if I click on the screen again, it'll come up. So I've learned to do that. But also I found out that if I use Microsoft Edge instead of Chrome, it works perfectly. And I think some other sites do that, and somehow they're setting up their software to work better with Microsoft instead of Google Chrome, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, on to Stan. W4KR, N4LQ.
N4LQ, W4KR. Well, I primarily use Firefox, Steve, and interesting. Sometimes I have to double click it also. I've got Edge is on the machine and Chrome is on the machine. Chrome has been a little flaky here at times, but what makes that world go around? I have no idea. My oldest son's kind of in that business, and I've asked him on occasion about particular things, and he says, "Sounds like another software bug." So, yeah, indeed, it's punch the button and see what happens. Charlie, when you were talking about what you're encountering there, I run the modulation monitor on a different computer, not the computer that runs the Apache Labs transceiver, and I just for kicks went to Home Depot, and it came up right away. I asked it to tell me about batteries, and all of a sudden there they were. And I went for an individual one, yep, and it popped right up. So now what we have here is a fiber system that's run by Western Carolina Telephone, which is based down in Abbeville. They're doing most of the fiber optic in this whole part of the state. When you said AT&T, I said, somehow that didn't surprise. Let's see here. I wonder if anybody noticed that over the weekend, the National Transportation Safety Board put out their final report on that Army helicopter CRJ 900 collision that occurred right close to Washington National Airport. And boy, did they ever scorch Army and the FAA in their assessment of why that happened. There were many opportunities for that crash. It killed 67 people. Many opportunities for that not to occur, but it was not to be. Anyway, as far as I'm going over to Dalton. I'm going to see if I can hunt up some 12AX7s that are rationally priced, but because I'm just about out of them. I spent part of yesterday in the half bath here in the lower level of the house has a big area around the sink, and that's where I clean stuff up. And I was cleaning up the Harvey Wells T90. It was really dirty, and it was just heavy layers of dust on the chassis. Anyway, got all that cleaned up, a little bit of soft scrub and a toothbrush, and got that cleaned up. So next stop is to, somebody had put a modification in there which is coming out, and I got to take care of that. But before I do that, I got to get ambitious and get the mystery transmitter ready to go. It's I got the 3-wire supply cable in it, and all I have to do is spend about a half an hour installing 4 capacitors, and it's ready to go on the air. But I got to quit being lazy. WB4NKL, W4KR.
Yeah, W4KR, it's WB4NKL. Sounds like you've been busy down there in Walhalla, Stan. Good deal. I plan on being at Dalton. It's, I guess, close to a 4-hour drive from here, but reckon me and Chuck in 4IYQ and Mark, W4WWC, probably head down that way real early Saturday morning. Probably leave out of here about 3:30, 4 o'clock. So long day, but we always have a good time down there, and it looks like the weather's going to be perfect this year. But we will be inside. Chuck got a table there in the not the standalone brick building, but the other building where the new stuff is towards the back. They've got flea market people, so we've got a table in there close to the outside door on the opposite side of the brick building. So if anybody's there, they can look us up. I've got to get some stuff together. I haven't done that yet. Stan, I'll look for some 12AX7s. I think I've got a few, and I'll try to stick a couple in the car. I guess I'll go ahead and get out of here. I'm in the basement shack, and looks like it's going to be a nice day, so I'm going to go get ready for that, and enjoyed it today. Go ahead, buddy. Thanks for calling it, Dave, and we will catch everybody there Thursday. Go ahead, buddy. WB4ARK is WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, WB4ARK. Okay, Cliff. Everybody still got a very good signal into Lake Wiley this morning. And looks like it's, we got some cloud cover, but I wouldn't call it significant cloud cover. It's kind of like a haze out there. And it's pretty bright, but kind of hazy looking. Well, yeah, I've got some 12AX7, 12AT7s that I accumulated years ago, mainly for the HT32 and a couple of other units that I have. And I'm going to hold on to those. They don't usually go bad too often, but every now and then you lose one. Yeah, I don't understand the price of some of these tubes. It's rather ridiculous. Yeah, the and I don't know about the weather situation. It's very interesting that up north they've got brutally cold and lots of snow. New England area, New York, pretty bad up there in that area. If you've been watching the news, it just keeps coming, and there was another small front supposed to hit them again. So easily we missed that. It did not come down this far, so I wonder if we might be through with the snow for this year. I guess I'll say 73 at this point and get on with the day's work. And thanks, Dave, for calling the net, and over to K3OS. This is WB4ARK.
Morning, buddy. WB4ARK, K3OS. Yeah, good all the way around. Join the comments here. Yeah, I was on 40 meters yesterday morning, as I do a couple times a week with some old friends from the New England area, and they were talking about, as of 8 o'clock yesterday morning, 2 feet of snow on the ground and whiteout conditions and more on the way. sure don't miss that. Oh my gosh. But yeah, big old nor'easter up there. So good thing we are here and being able to persevere the cold weather. I'm sitting here actually dismantling an old hard drive. I don't need it anymore, and I want to make sure nobody grabs the data. So I've taken it apart and I'll smash the disks on the inside. I found out they're pretty hard. They're pretty indestructible things when you don't want them to be. You try to smash one from the outside, even with a sledgehammer, you'd be working pretty hard. So I've opened it up and looking at the disks now. I got a couple of those things to do. I've migrated migrating a couple of computers over to another one. And Charlie, I just checked. I can get into Lowe's without any problem. But I would do what Steve said. Try a different browser. Try Edge or something like that. The compatibility is not necessarily the same, and it drives you crazy. I've also had a problem when I migrated this computer over last week. I've been using LibreOffice for years, and it would not run. Every time I tried to open, I installed it on this Windows 11 machine, and it crashed the computer. So I said, okay. After a few attempts, I said, screw this. So I used an earlier version. I downloaded an earlier version and loaded it up, and it didn't work either. So I went to OpenOffice, which works fine. So sometimes it's just platform dependent, but why it should work now, why your stuff should work before and doesn't work now, those are all mysteries. So I'll say 73 is in this round as well, and I'll turn it over to Boone. WA4EVK K3OS.
K3OS in the group, WA4EVK. Charlie, I've had pretty bad problems with both Home Depot and Lowe's on their website using my iPad, and somewhat more same on the desk computer. Not sure what's going on with those guys, but if it is browser dependent, that's one of the stupidest errors that they could make. I was forced to be a software product manager at my company before I retired. It was a oil drilling company, and I was in charge of all the drilling software used in the field on the rigs. And boy, that kind of thing can give you heartburn. Microsoft has historically tried to pull that on their browsers to try to lock in customers for their software components. I tell you what, they're pretty bad. But I'm out of that game, and I'm quite happy. Now that you have mentioned, I'll ask my brother. He was the webmaster for NOAA before he retired, and maybe he's got an angle on it. But I got so frustrated yesterday with it that I drove over to the Home Depot to look some stuff up. So I'm having some of the same problems. Lighter duty, though. I can get in there and get most of it, and it's like Gary or someone said, you click again and it fills in the page, and it got so bad. And I was just looking up a shower valve that I just got in the car and drove over there. So I don't know. They need to get their act together. They got to be losing business over that. You'd think. Not much else this go around. Over to you, Charlie. W4MEC to take it. WA4EVK.
Okay, Boone, WA4EVK, the group W4MEC. Real good. Well, the screwy thing is it hit on the same day. Hey, I've been going to Lowe's and Home Depot just about every day on the line there looking for something, comparing prices, and it just one day I went on there and said, no, not gonna work. It doesn't work anymore. And I use Firefox also. I'm using an older computer, but it does everything I needed to do. That's why I never upgraded it. And it's interesting if you watch some of the YouTube videos about Windows 11. Apparently, it's pretty much a disaster. So worse so than Windows 10. I just remember the Windows 10 came out, and all these articles in QST about stuff that didn't work anymore, and a couple articles where people had lines of code on there, like the old PC magazine in the 70s, where everything was entered by a keyboard or something there, or AMSI computer with toggle switches on the front or something. And to rewrite all this software to get these things to work with Windows 10. So I don't know what they did. Maybe they share some kind of server. Lowe's and Home Depot share a server, and they did something at that place. But yeah, I tried changing stores and everything. Nothing works, and it's just a totally blocked. Now everything else, no, there's not one other site. I've got plenty of bookmarks on there. Not a one of them gives me a problem except Lowe's or Home Depot. So, and if I go around it surreptitiously, like put in in Google, like carpet knife at Home Depot, it'll bring up a product, carpet knife at Home Depot, on the home page, and you click on it and it says, "Boops, something went wrong, refresh page." So it's something common to I guess to the two of them, but I don't know if it'll ever get sorted out. The thing about the audio wires there, they did something similar. This is a long time ago. A very long time ago, 3 or 4 decades. I remember reading this when they were comparing tube amplifiers and solid-state amplifiers, and they did the same thing with the blind steady. And this is what was interesting. None of them knew what the amplifier was. They played the same music over the same speaker, and the solid-state audio amplifier or stereo amplifier had specifications that were just absolutely great, run rings around the tube amplifier. And I think the vast majority of the time, the audiophiles would pick the tube amp over the solid-state amp. And they couldn't figure out why that was, and they speculated that what it had to do with was the amount of electrons doing the job. A transistor or something like that has this machine gun bullet setup versus electrons apparently inside there, whereas in a tube there's a cloud that goes from the emitter to the plate. There's just billions of them going from, whereas in a solid-state device you just have a single track of electrons, and they think that has something to do with it, but they don't know. But all they know is when they went in there and did audio files, that time after time they would pick a tube amp over a solid-state amp, everything else being identically the same. So I think that's the same reason they make them, and I guess they can hear the difference. Same thing about digitized audio, like on a CD versus analog on an LP, and the audiophiles will insist that they can tell the difference. And I'm not sure I can tell the difference, to be honest with you, between a CD or vinyl. But the rule of thumb back in the day was you got a brand new record and you put it on your turntable and you played it and you recorded it on reel-to-reel tape. And once you got the recording, you put the record back and you never looked at it again. You just listened to the tape. And because the record wears out, is noticeably degraded after 50 plays, but a single audio tape there is good for 500 before it has a noticeable degradation. So, and then you just make a new tape. So technically you get 25,000 listens to before the record goes down after the 50th recording session. So, but those guys have got super ears, and they're super suckers when it comes to the price of tubes. You have to that Muller tube, I think that's one of the higher tubes prices out there, sought after tubes out there, and it's just amazing what they'll spend on that stuff. So I don't think I guess they're listening to old music. I don't think there's any good music worth listening to. WA4LLR in the group W4 Music.
Well, not after the 60s anyway. W4MEC, WA4LR. Do we have any late check-ins? Come now. Okay, guess we've got everybody for today. What do we have? 8, 1, 2, 3, yep. Let's see here. Yeah, guitar players are that way. Man, they'll fight you over a tube amp. Anyhow. it is interesting, for sure. Let's see. Gary, that sounds, man, those bomb cyclones and nor'easters are giving New England a fit, for sure. And Steve, that's interesting about the bumblebee caps. What in the world do they do with them, especially the ones with the leads trimmed off and the ones that are cracked open? What in the heck do they do with those capacitors? Are they decorative? I don't know. Anyway, let's see here. I didn't mention the space weather or the this day in history. This is the second day in a row that we have a 0 sunspot count. First time in 4 years. Solar flux index is 110 and the K is 2.33. So quiet on the space weather front. A few things from this day in history. On this day in 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. On this day in 1991, the ground offensive began in the Gulf War. On this day in 1988, the Supreme Court defended the right to satirize public figures. Jerry Falwell had sued Hustler magazine for a satire they did of him, and some court had granted him $200,000, and the Supreme Court overturned it and said it was okay to do a satire on public figures. Let's see what else is going on. This one's kind of interesting. On this day in 1917, the Zimmerman telegram was presented to the U.S. ambassador, and of course this is in World War I. British authorities gave the U.S. ambassador to Britain a copy of the Zimmerman telegram, which was a coded message from Arthur Zimmerman, the German Foreign Secretary, to Count Bernstorff, the German ambassador to Mexico, asking Mexico to invade the U.S. if the U.S. got into World War I, and they'd give them back Texas and New Mexico and a bunch of other stuff. On this day in 1868, President Andrew Johnson was impeached. And one other item that we must remember: on this day in 1961, the first 15 students received their Bachelor of Hamburgerology degree from McDonald's Hamburger University, the Harvard of fast food. Okay, let's see who's gone. Buddy and Cliff and Gary have checked out. So Stan, you'll give it to Boone. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right, WA4LLR, N4LQ. I just sent out an email to the Old Friends group on, it's an eBay auction for, let's see, 2 Bumblebee capacitors, 0.22 microfarad. Now those are pretty good sized Bumblebees. Black stripes on them. They look kind of crummy looking to me. I don't know. They got a little bit of a lead on them. I don't think they're brand new, but it says they're NOS, new old stock. 2 capacitors sold. Now this is not just something somebody wants to sell. This is sold for $590. So there you go. All right, it's been fun this morning. And on tube amplifiers, I think it's not too hard to tell the difference in that versus solid state. And there's some kind of distortion that is apparently pleasing to the ear in a tube type amplifier. Anyway, 73s, and hope somebody can show up tonight. Participation is rather scant on 160. But anyway, we'll see y'all later. 73 and over to Stan. W4KR, N4LQ.
N4LQ, W4KR. Boy, Steve, you motivated me to do something. As you probably know, national receivers have a whole bunch of bumblebees in them. My 183D is one of them, and and they're almost all of them are still in there. And I've been kibitzing about it. Cliff and I have been kibitzing about that, and I've been thinking about going in there and taking them out, and I was just going to replace them and toss them. But now with the 183D off the operating table, replaced by the SX101, yeah, I got a couple of other projects going, but I think I'll finish the mystery transmitter, because I want to get that on the air, and go into the 183D and get rid of get the bumblebees out of there, and they won't go to the trash. They'll head for the head for eBay. Thank you, Steve. As far as tubes go, tetrodes versus triodes. Collins really went to significant lengths to assure that the 4-400As that are used as modulators in the 20V series, 20V, 21, 22, 23, 20-1, 2, 3. They put they did a lot of circuitry in there to keep the tubes running in AB1. Tetrodes in AB2 get distortion-y, and they other than that, it doesn't seem to make much difference. Now, I noticed that Gates, using with their 833 amplifiers, didn't go to all that extreme that Collins did. But they both work, so what the heck. Anyway, that's kind of it for this morning. Enjoyed it this morning. And Lord willing, we'll see everybody Thursday morning. And okay on who's going to Dalton and who may not go. And Dave, look forward to seeing you. And gee, the Charlotte one, I always like that Charlotte one. That's a great location they've got out there now, but it doesn't seem to get very much PR. They don't seem to advertise it very much. Buddy, here it comes, and take care, and Lord willing, we'll see everybody Thursday morning. WB4ARK, W4KR. Good morning.
Yeah, I believe it comes down here to me. It's WA40VK. Well, it's been a very informative morning. I've enjoyed it. Charlie, I just tried the Home Depot site, and it seems to be behaving itself this morning. And most of those companies use large companies to host their sites. It's to do with the database, because they've got so many items they have to list. And for the life of me, I cannot remember who it is, but you're right. And in fact, they may, software is a weird world. They may pay a service, or a company for the database housing that's separate from the one that hosts their actual website. You got two big computer sites connected to one another. One of them is the database, and the other houses the actual web software. I do not ever want to work in that industry again. Life can get too complicated. That's about it. Thoroughly enjoyed it this morning. I've got a AF67, what is that thing? AF57 that seems to not like the B the late 6146, the B, so I've got to go scrounge around in my, I've got the hunch it doesn't. I got to scrounge around my junk and find a plain 6146 or the A version. So I'm waiting for it to get warmer though. Over to you, Charlie. 73s, everyone. W4 MEC to take it. WA4EVK.
Okay, Boone, WA4EVK in the group W4MC. Yeah, all righty. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it'll resolve itself if I can actually talk to a person. But Boo hadn't shown up from the Zippy Mart yet to be customer service, so to wait for him to get there. Anyway, we got 6 meters tonight. Boone, I was calling last week a few times. I was a few minutes late, but I was out there tinkering. It's a little cold out there. I don't know what it is. I'm in the house this morning. I'm not outside in the shop, but using something else this morning. And it'll probably be cold out there too tonight, but I'll give it a try. So anyway, good to talk to all of you fellows this morning, and you all have a good day, and take care of what you got to take care of and get those projects done. So 7-3 for now. We'll see you on Thursday. It's W4 MEC. So see you later.
All right, Charlie, fine business. Steve, thanks for the the info on bumblebee capacitors. I looked some up, and I don't know how the boy got that kind of a price out of capacitors. A lot of the others were 2 for 30 or something like that, but quite interesting. Anyway, I certainly appreciate all the folks that participated today. Thank you for checking in. I hope you have a good day. Stay warm and safe. Lord willing, we'll do it again on Thursday. So, 7-3 and God bless. This is WA4 LLR Dave in Burnsville closing this session of The Old Friends.